Recording in progress.
John,
Guys.
hey John, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
When started?
When it started.
When it started?
We got a packet tonight.
Yeah, the whole trip is here too.
Okay.
We're doing real business.
All right. This is.
Oh, should be something busy. Thank you for printing all this out. I'm sure you did it.
I'm really not sure what to do here.
Is it not connecting to internet or what's the issue?
Um.
Yeah.
It's according if I did the order of operations wrong with the whole turn on the laptop before you turn on these. Be sure.
I don't know if it should make any difference in the order. But you, hi Lee, how are you? Hi Lee.
Great.
Yeah, we're gonna start pretty soon.
This isn't gonna affect anybody who's watching, so. You're the packet. Sorry.
We don't have to record until we get to the public hearing, right?
Well, I just started recording now, so I didn't
Okay,
forget to do it.
that's great. So. Everybody's too quiet.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait a second. We might not be able to make it now. This is, yeah. Okay. And some stuff. Right.
It is Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024, at 6:30 p.m. This is the CDAC meeting, which will include a TIF public hearing. That's one of our first agenda items. Okay. So call the meeting to order now, please. And then we're going to talk about the meeting for a second. Does anybody have any issues with the minutes from last meeting? I have one question, if nobody else has any. The price estimate for replacing the furnace for $350,000, is that right, just to replace the furnace? I thought that was a bit high.
I'm not sure that that's.
On your terms.
It might have been 35,000 for a furnace.
Yeah, that's way too high.
I have not going to keep all elements to the same specs as it was when it was built. Want to just stabilize it for $350,000. Pick up the building and redo foundation with cement. That is phase one. Next phase two is to do the roof for 50 to 75,000. There are grants for that. And then
Replacing and upgrading the furnace.
I had no comments on the furnace, so I think that might be stabilize it. I just used the same word, which doesn't.
Okay, so I don't know.
And you're on Zoom, so it might have been.
We need to verify that with Mark Favreau, or the $350,000 is correct. It's correct.
No, I don't think
Probably
it is.
fine. Okay. The whole thing was $1,400,000
Yeah.
to do the restoration to make it exactly as it was in historical setting, but then they backed off of that and made it like $600,000 and some thousand total to do all the repairs and make it functional. Okay.
Yeah, that was referring to, that sentence was referring to the fact that whatever that number was, that was going to make the building occupiable.
Right. Okay. So that might include more than.
Can be occupied by the time we spend $600,000 in total.
Okay, so that would be 35 plus the 50 to 75, which would be 425. So it would be close to couple hundred thousand, I guess.
Well, I think some of it's also to do lightings and heating and it's more than just
Just the furnace.
the furnace, so I wouldn't. I did not call out just the furnace, I wrote.
My
Phase
memory
two will be
is,
to piecemeal things like heating, lighting, etc. New power can be occupied by the time you spend 600,000. Since what I had.
right, and I think the 350 was sort of the bucket for all the other stuff.
Okay.
After the foundation and the roof. And that was the highest, that's not.
So how would you
So-
like this to be reworded?
Uh,
I could put the furnace part up with that part, the first part of part A.
right,
But I think the furnace is part of this other bucket. I wonder if we just sort of say.
just add the other,
Future repairs, strike furnace and just sort of say future repairs. Were estimated at 350. These repairs would make the building able to be occupied. I think that was his sort of overall point.
right,
I think that brings it beyond
Yeah,
what
it
they're
does.
saying, so
So
I
I
wouldn't mention 350.
Yeah, I think maybe it's a next phase would be replace, repair the roof. Matching areas could be used to do interior lighting with furnace replacement.
and was that building gonna get, heat pumps or just a furnace?
Probably
Okay.
unknown at this point.
Furnace replacement.
I think the
The total estimate.
only real estimate they had, it seemed to me, was to get the foundation.
I think it was what
secured. Right.
what got bid up, you know,
And then other stuff is him just kind of spitballing,
estimate would be.
guesstimating, but I don't know that. there's
Okay.
any real-
I think that'll be fine to word it so that includes more than just the furnace. It's actually, I believe it will probably include all the rewiring, electrical, all that stuff, but that wasn't spelled out.
All right, this is what I got now. Next phase would be to replace and repair the roof, which is estimated to cost between 50 to 75. Matching grants could be used to do the interior lighting, etc. With furnace replacement, the total estimate would be 700,000. These repairs would make the building able to be occupied.
I had 600,000.
You had 6.
Okay. And all other repairs.
Right.
You had 6, then that.
All right.
Has there been any movement on that? Do you know? I'm just curious.
I don't know, so they've not followed up with anybody.
No.
But, well, it has to come to us, right?
I think folks should tune into the whole town hall.
Yeah.
meetings.
They collect pennies and go to run their own, or?
I don't know, I don't have time to watch the other committee meetings.
I understand that.
All right, other than that,
That, I think we're good, and, with that correction being made, we never talk accepted.
Save and save these two.
If that, if you don't mind, just repost that for this meeting. That'd be great. Then the next on our agenda, we'll go right into the TIF hearing. So it is open for comment from anybody that might be on Zoom. And I don't know if anybody's on Zoom,
Participants.
and we have no audience here. And so the committee, do we have any discussion on this amended TIF, or have we already worked over it enough where we're ready to go with it?
I just have a question on the table at the back of the kind of, potential buckets of expenditure. Page, it's not a page number here, but if you look on the first page of the table, and maybe there's $1 million bucket
is
there.
there for the maps, just so I can follow along?
After page 22, go to page 22, and then the table is after that. Yeah. So if you, after page 22, there's, it open, there's 2 sides. On the left side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, there's $1 million item. TIF revenues may be used for the creation of commercial and performance center. And then when I look across the page on the next page. 1 through 3 down, there's a $500,000 item, it says. It looks the same, tip revenue may be used for the creation of a commercial event performance center. And I was just wondering, is that just like a copy paste thing, or are there two different items? That were intended? I just wasn't sure, if that's just a typo thing. You see what I'm seeing in that?
Yeah.
I assume
There's a slight difference in the wording.
Is
It has, for other economic development purposes on the second page, right? Or am I looking at the wrong? paragraph?
I think. 500,000.
Oh, 500,000.
And I assume this, or at least one of these refers to the town hall, kind of. Not directly, but to the use towards that.
Well, when you say town hall, are you meaning? Next door?
Oh, sorry, I mean, not here, but.
Oh, wait.
Town hall, it's town hall. Yeah, just, yeah.
They do absolutely look like a big agency.
That was the only thing that.
Good job.
Oh,
yes. Yeah, everything else seemed to make sense.
I can't remember where we landed on. The town office, administrative office is,
That's where we ended up moving the 500 cuts.
I think you gotta cut down a little bit.
and it's still listed as 1 million here. If I'm. That would be my, just to make sure that whatever we sort of. Had decided last time is consistent here.
okay, so the first million is the old town hall.
Okay.
The next one is 100,000, I know what that one is. The next one, which is 50% of the. That is for the town office. The 1 million at the top of the second page.
Yeah,
Then the
Yep.
525 is yellow building.
Yep,
Um. 500,000. We didn't, it is to whatever that was last year.
I don't,
All right,
I don't know.
because we did have a line item for.
that's a commercial event performance center. That was,
So, yeah, maybe it is then.
yes, the same, the language is the same, the eligibilities are the same.
That would be my guess.
I wonder if when it's all added up, there was a $500,000 difference of being. So I'm assuming Nicole put the money back into the town.
You guys,
I believe it ended with it not being in there.
Well, or half, 500.
The 500,000 that's in there, that's 8,000 was moved to, or the town of the state in.
Community wide.
The lands community wide. I think that the one thing that I would just comment on is that I know the discussion last time was, it was very clear that the consensus as a majority of the members felt strongly about it. Was that we were to present nothing that went over the projected income However, I heard from your email that you sent that the last time we submitted a TIF, it exceeded the amount. That it's, the TIF is not an exact number, it's not an exact science. And it's so fluid that 500,000 out of like 12 million is a very reasonable 5% kind of up and down. So that's just to,
That's what I like to. I know there was a pavilion line, and I think that's what they.
maybe what that is. Was it's a.
Yeah, the building's 500,000.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what that is then.
I apologize because there are two. Like I have two different copies, it seems, in front of me at the moment. Like I have one that's like a working draft that I've been working on perhaps.
Yep.
So I'm just trying to go through and make sure that I'm capturing, because I was trying to bring any numbers that weren't what you guys told me to do. I can. So 500,000.
That's fine, just here.
Yeah. We should have a commercial influence.
Okay, yes, I apologize, you guys had 500,000 for town office, which is the first one on the second page, so that's a typo there.
And then that was there 500,000 that we needed to go someplace else.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
When I just added up, I added up the numbers on the. I added up all the numbers that are there. In the table, and it came out. Just about. Came out $900,000 more than this 11,435. When I did the sum. So minus 500 would get you 400,000 closer to that number.
Sorry, the very last number should be 2,749,916. Just,
The very last.
that was what you guys, talked about last time. So I apologize.
You come up with,
Then I was looking at.
12,335,000.
That's what I got. That's what I got.
Is that
I just added them all up.
That's not that's the sum of the numbers.
Right,
So
but that's not,
that's not that number.
and it's not.
Oh,
The difference is not that number, the reserve number. Correct, okay.
No, the difference is 900.
Gotcha.
No,
So I apologize, the last one of them all should be 2,749,916.
2749916.
2,749,916. And I'll add them all.
That'll make it even bigger.
But there's, well, it should be the same, there's 500 left, the town office, you might.
the number,
It's not, so.
I'm just saying.
Right.
For over $1 million. Town will be over 1.25 million.
Don, did you add up all of the numbers installed?
I added all the numbers in the whole
And what
chart.
did you-
These and those, and I got 900,000 less than or 900,000 more than 11,435. So I got 12,335.
Yeah. That's what I got.
Which, that probably should be, but, Yvette just said that the bottom block on this third page here
Community wide.
is not $2 million, but it's two something,
Yeah,
2 million, blah, 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 blah.
said 2 million, basically 750,000.
Now, what I think, right. So that's gonna make a bigger
Okay.
discrepancy between the last figure and the top.
We just, all numbers that.
Yes, I just totaled everything that you.
Yeah.
From last time,
Yeah,
12,324,916 for project totals. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,749,916. 2,7 So just to, let me go over all of the numbers again.
Sure.
Oh, actually, I didn't add the 25,000, 75,000, and 160, which is already done. Hold on, I could add both actually.
25, 75, and 160. That's the three first.
Would it have anything to do with what's been
With
expended?
what's been spent. Already, I think so.
Could
Okay,
be.
so now it's 12,584,916.
And so Yvette, would we take that grand total and subtract what's already been expended? And that's what we're,
The whole, it includes what we've already done.
okay. I'm just trying to figure out why these numbers are off. But
Yeah.
it's just math. You know, I mean, is that?
Yeah, well, the
Sounds-
problem is that I have a working draft that wasn't the edits from last time, but if I make the edits and we can go back over what
We'll
you guys
get
had
that.
wanted
Get
last
that.
time.
Okay.
You know, you had 500,000, you decreased the affordable housing thing from 1 million to 500,000. The old town hall was approved for 1 million. 100,000 is the mural project. The town office, which is that special up to 50% capital, blah, blah, blah. You guys wanted 500,000 instead of 1 million.
Mhm.
The 525,000 stays. The 500,000 is the pavilion. You kept the 2.5 million, for economic development. You kept the, 1.5 million for the, events and that stuff, so that didn't change.
Yes.
Then kept 900,000 for the marketing brochures and so forth. You increased from 30,000 to 50,000 for the business training stuff.
Mhm.
You kept the 1.5 million for the Merry Meeting Trail. And then we were doing some math to try and make a even Steven situation last time, which left us with the very specific amount of $2,749,916 for the local match stuff.
You have one more time, 2 million.
$2,749,916.
Got it. And then the total at the top of the next page, then you more to.
I have 12,584,916, which includes interest. Yeah, with what you guys wanted last time, but also includes the already paid out costs of projects
Yep.
in the beginning, which was 25,000, 75,000, and 160,000.
12,584 something, yeah. Yeah, that sounds, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. So, I wasn't at the meeting, so why did you guys come up with? Why is the last number so funny, the 2,749,916, and then our total is funny number? We're kind of around, just for curiosity.
Right, could we have that be 2,750,000, that last number?
I think it's just trying to reflect reality and it's
Well,
no
yeah.
longer necessary.
I mean, to,
It's just everything else is, and
I agree, I don't. Why did it have to be that?
having precision there, and not precision elsewhere, just feels kind of.
It was to make everything match exactly the expenditure versus the revenue last time, because that's.
What the marching orders were. It was not to go over.
I see. I
So it's a plug number.
I got you, sorry, okay.
Do you, those
Yeah.
reminds numbers, can we just do a Excel for me, just.
Okay.
Do you still want it to be that random number, or do you want it to be more of a whole number?
Doesn't matter.
I think I'll.
Under being with 916 on the end. It's where, so if you're doing an accounting package, you take your liabilities and assets, and they have to equal each other, so.
But that's. Cool. It's not what this is.
We can make all the other ones, you know, put those factors in them, and make them all work. No, I'm sorry, I was kidding.
I guess, I mean, the argument for making it look more consistent.
I also think I understand, matching your revenues and expenses, but that's not what this exercise is.
Yeah.
It really isn't. It would be irresponsible to put in, $3 or $4 million over what we anticipate getting. But to plug numbers in to make it match is just not how this process works. It's not how the last TIF was submitted. And that was what Yvette's email to us was about.
So that last number was 2,750,000. The final number would be 12.
585.
I'm putting this into a little Excel thing.
Yeah.
Oh, 985,
585.
oh, what is it now? Oh,
584, 916.
oh, 984.
So it's,
What do you want the last one to be rounded up to or down to?
I think that in the interest of making the whole thing look reasonable, if you just make it to even thousands of dollars.
Yeah. So last one would be 2,750,000.
Yeah,
Call it good.
to me, that makes more sense.
and that means the grand total,
I'm right at,
well, 585.
I just have a bigger offer.
what's this number 17?
It's going to be 2,715,000.
And that last item is really any type of matching. Okay, nice.
That was the basic thinking to increase that.
Yeah, that's great.
Here's my list.
Yeah, that's great. That's really good.
No.
So,
You
yeah,
want me to save them back to you?
That would be good to start at the
Yes.
Okay, so you have 25,000, 75,000, 160,000, 500,000, 1,000,000, 100,000, 500,000, 525,000, 500,000, 2.5 million. 1.5 million.
It's not funny. I'll just move it.
And so if we're all good on the numbers. Then it's just, then what's the next step?
Then we need a motion on the floor to accept these. The edited TIF document as corrected in this meeting. And then we'll have a second, and then we'll move forward. So if somebody wants to.
Sure, I motion to accept the document with the edited table and discuss.
second,
I'm second with John, and so all in favor,
Right?
unanimous? The quorum is here. Accepted as edited during the meeting.
So that is the next step, the select board will,
Yeah, they'll decide if it goes on the warrant.
for town meeting.
Okay,
Great. Thank you, Yvette, for that work.
Oh, really?
that's a lot of work to do that.
I will share with you some other time exactly what the feedback is from the state on these things. So you have an idea of
Yeah.
how detail oriented this is. So,
I wonder if it's, well, this is more commentary, but it seems unusual for towns this small to have TIFs. Is that true? Is it most of the larger cities, or is it all of your experience?
I don't really know. I think sometimes TIFs might not be large enough to perhaps bother with for some instances. It really depends on what the project was, I guess.
They're limited to,
Most things that
2% of the tax revenue of the town.
Yeah, and I've only dealt with it
Usually,
in Portland and.
we can't have a city like that, much more than that.
I think this can be up for 5%. I'd have to read that letter again.
I ran a house in Northern for a while online. It's quite an interesting, it's just an instrument so that the town doesn't have to give away a lot of its revenue to the school and the state. And you're
On a specific project too.
yeah, to help with 100% of the taxable income that was set aside in the TIF to be spent on specific projects. And with the idea that there's going to be some effort expended to get grants to supplement the income to that TIF. That's my understanding.
Yeah, it can't exceed 5% of the.
75% of the town's revenue happens. All right, let's move to the next item, which is an update on the mural. Yeah, I'll pass that to you, please.
Sure, so a quick update on that. So I wrote Mac, the Memory Arts Center board, on behalf of the committee, and kind of just the general outline of the idea and how we were hoping they could be involved in kind of overseeing the process of putting out kind of a proposal for artists to respond to. And they are excited about that and enthusiastic to participate, so that's great. So they're on board to facilitate that process once we have kind of approval to go forward. I wrote Mark Fabro after learning that he was kind of working with Fred and overseeing the management of the building, just about getting the owner's approval for that. I'm still waiting to hear back from him. I wrote his planning board email address, but I don't know if I could have written a separate one on that. I don't know if people have his personal email address or not. Still running here.
I have this text.
I can just, if I see him, I'll remind him.
Okay. Yeah, if somebody has another email for him, I could send it to him in case he doesn't check his.
Whether it is text,
You have his phone?
so that might be a way, yeah,
Sure.
his personal.
Okay, yeah, you want to send it to me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll text him on that, so that's obviously, we need to get the owner's approval first. And then, once we have that. I assume the next step would be, we would then go to the select board. To get their okay before. To allow
We
Mac to
definitely
move
should.
forward with the process,
Present to them.
right?
Yeah, I think we should.
Would that include having some kind of a budget attached to it, some kind of form, or just conceptually?
I think we need to put a number. I put to Mac, and this was just. Me throwing out a number was that the project would not exceed $10,000 initially. Cause it's like a smaller space, and I figured that was a reasonable place to start, with that, but. That's just me throwing out a number, really. So if other people.
There are a couple of people artists in town who have done murals before
Yeah,
for their projects.
yeah,
And they might be able to give you better sense.
yeah,
Because I think, for example, Jane Page Conway
yeah,
did the mural in the butterfly garden at the Brunswick Public Library.
okay,
And I know that Renault has also done public murals. Artists frequently feel like they are over and over again asked to donate their talents.
Yeah.
So before going to the, even if you ended up putting in a larger number and the select board shoots it down,
Right,
at least we didn't start
too low.
at a low number. So I'm sure there are other, those are just the two that I know of.
Yeah, I say we put together a memo with as much detail as we have on this time.
Do you want to ask? Or do you mind asking Jane Page Conway what she thinks? Or no?
Sure. Actually, if you could write up just like the scope of what you're thinking, so I can just send it to her.
Sure.
Okay, that'd be great.
Are we thinking of anywhere else other than the Fred building? Other possibilities?
In the town?
Like, is there?
I had not
Right.
at this point. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
reason.
Thinking
Not
of
to.
moving forward with the scope to not limit it to just that, or, you know, they get back and say, well, we want it here, but not there.
Yep.
Could there be,
Is this the largest space that's available for now in town? The first one?
that big gray building, right, is sort of what you're envisioning?
Well, we come to just starting with the just this side of the actual pottery studio first.
Okay,
I think it's a really good idea to start with something small, get people.
Just behind,
yeah,
People can build.
just because it's much simpler.
yeah,
Because with the green building, we're talking like a fixing, like a separate mounting, and it's just more involved, so we're just gonna start on the wall. Fairly simple, just in terms of installation. Maybe a little, like slightly lower budget,
yeah,
just to demonstrate like
and both of the buildings are owned by FHC.
both are going at page.
Yeah.
So just simpler, smaller demonstration project, this is what can happen,
Yeah,
get people, okay. Interested, excited, and then you like bigger.
think about other possibilities, right, so whether it was the gray or,
Yeah, or elsewhere,
right,
that was kind of the
okay,
thinking, but. Yeah. And other possibilities, you know, are interesting that we're just thinking like, what was visible or central or, yeah, you know what I mean?
That is really visible when you come down the hill.
I mean, you're staring at it when you're driving by, or
yeah,
oh, by, sure will be there, so. Okay. So I can send that. I can send a little write up to you, Lee, to share with Jane or any others, and I can speak with them and all.
And Manal and Jane have worked together and stuff before for the art center. They worked on the skateboard park.
Okay. And then, assuming we get approval from Mark / Fred, then we can draft a memo for the select board and we can decide on a number we want to put on it. To go with them.
That sounds good.
Okay,
Excellent.
thanks for the work on that.
Yes, appreciate that.
yep,
Okay,
And then that would be paid for out of tip / grants, potentially moving forward.
yep, we put in this little total $100,000 line item in our budgets. So there'll be some funds there and then any other matching stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
all right, our next item is in the new business. It's a scheduling the volunteer clinic day. Wendy had the insert was in our attachments for the meeting tonight. Talking about the trail cleanup that she commandeers people to do every spring. And last spring I participated, plan on doing it this spring. And it's to show up at the park over by the yellow building. There's a billboard right there where for billboard. We figure out what we're gonna do and go clean up. I took a hedge trimmer with me last year and trimmed out around posts and stuff in the picnic table, so it wasn't engulfed in grass. And some other fellow came with a nice high-powered gas weed whacker and cleared a whole trail for about 1/4 mile. It's really nice.
So this document is a copy of what was put in the last newsletter, and I need to put that out this week.
Okay.
So that's what this is, and I just changed the dates to be the first Saturday in May, which is how it was last time, and I didn't ask Wendy if she wants to be listed as a point of contact, and she's not here. But I can ask her on the side, if you like all this language, maybe minus the stuff in yellow, unless there's some sort of stuff in yellow, I don't know if it happened. Or if you want to talk about it again.
So what you have highlighted in yellow, that's exactly what happened, right?
If I wasn't there and I.
Well, you know, I put up some professionally produced trail markers and we cleaned up some stuff around the trails, and around the walkways next to the railroad tracks and so forth. So big heavy lifting was done by Public Works, you know, mowing the whole entire area.
That were Bryce Works put out there?
Well, what's that?
No,
Yeah. Well, is that something that might happen this year? I mean, there was a plan for it last year, evidently.
Where are those right now? Do you know?
yeah, they're in a storage at Max somewhere. I know they talked about, I don't know what they're. I don't know, like,
My assumption is that there might be response associated with that, rather than you can't just sort of like drag those out and stick them up against a tree. So that might even be a part of that 100,000, just to figure out how they should be mounted.
right,
But you're really asking, do these dates work for getting it in the?
Well, yeah, that, and is there something to say about this stuff in yellow? We can just take it out. It doesn't seem like a big patch.
Plan,
just scratch it.
too late to have a little bit of permission.
Yeah,
And then you say, you know, we'll be checking trail signs, doing some brush cleanup and
Yep.
make sure all of it.
yeah,
Is this I mean, there used to be a long time ago, I think the Boy Scouts did it. It was an organized cleanup of trash pickup.
Right, I can hear, remember that.
Well, Bowdoin College too came, their day of good deeds or something, they had student volunteers come.
Yeah. The people from the community used to walk along the sides of the road with garbage bags and pick up trash.
Well, that's being organized on the 20th.
That's
There's
Earth Day,
yeah,
yeah,
poster out there.
Okay.
yeah, 20,
So this is just.
specifically on the,
Wendy is traditionally been in charge of this
yeah,
every year.
It started, I
Boom.
they, yeah, I don't know if it also was part of trying to snip some of the brown tail moths.
That's what we
Right.
started in a company years ago.
But
Good, okay, I think we're good on that. And then, the next two items, B and C. I think I'll, didn't ask her ahead of time, but Yvette, can you, enlighten us about those two items?
Yep. Okay, let's see.
Yeah,
Yep, so the Community Outdoor Recreation Assistance Recovery Program was something I reached out to pretty much everybody on in some capacity. Just spitballing some ideas, and I was thinking that the mural was going to fit, but then after talking with the person in charge of this at the Maine Department of Outdoor Recreation, it's really more about like trail signage and creating plans for trails. And anyhow, so I'm now looking into the signage, which is part of phase whatever, 1.5 or 2 that we're on right now at the waterfront, because the Land and Water Conservation Fund project that we're currently working under as a grant had that as a project item. So if we could get a grant to deal with that instead, that would be money that can go to other things. So I'm working with Community Geo. I have a call with them on Thursday to find out more information about how much it would cost for us to, put out an RFP for the grant that says, hey, we want, because our plans show interpretive signage here, here. We have like 5 along the shoreline mapped on one of our big diagrams or schematics. I have another set of plans that actually show several signs within the park, but I hesitate to do those because I think that they're related to a pavilion and whatever we haven't really done anything about, but the ones along the shoreline. And then also putting, and I thought I found that plan there, the overall concept plan is another plan to refer back to. I thought I had seen where maybe signs could be posted, and if not, I think a general comment that we would like to have around 4 to 5 signs within the new trail system. That's, I mean, you do have the Catherine's Meadow Trail, but there's going to be more to it. So basically, it's looking like the grant is due the 25th of this month, and it's looking like it'll be more of a request for proposal for interpretive signage within the new park. And it'll include, historic information as well as flora and fauna and information about the bay. Some of this is all, still to be written up. But we do want to include things that say we want it, all persons accessible. So, vetting this with Community Geo, with Enoch, the gentleman who came out and looked at the trails. I think Wendy was there, perhaps, and the age-friendly folks were there. He comes out in his wheelchair and he gave us, there was a grant that Age Friendly got and gave a big write-up about how to, make those trails more useful to all abilities. So having like and there actually is ways you want to make the actual signage also accessible. So there's a lot of extra, there's a lot of extra things to emphasize in the grant application that I think they could help us portray, really elaborate on. So, and then I had also kind of thrown in, could we get more trail design out of it? It might be a little bit too much for me to put both of those things into the grant at this point, but it's anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000 grant. Doesn't require a match, but I think it would be beneficial to put one in. So I'll be figuring out what that looks like, informing the select board over this grant, but it's all in alignment with the plan, the waterfront. I was hoping that this is something that the committee supports in general. I didn't have time to write a letter of support because I was too busy writing this other one, which I'll tell you about in a second. But if it would be appropriate if you were to declare you're in support of this, I could work on a letter that I could give to John to sign.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll just kind of work on that.
I wonder, the only other thought I had was that, I really like that map. That's, I don't know what shape it's in, but there's sort of rudimentary map of the river and the bay.
Oh, yes, we would redo that one.
All right.
Yes, that's in there. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Because I didn't do it no way, I think you would hold up.
Yeah. It's only a 5-page application, or they have like a limitation on it, but I think that taking a photo of that would be really great to include in the,
Yeah.
I
think it gives voters just sort of, voters as well as people that come in, just sort of this is where it is. So this is where I mean, it's great.
Yes, that is definitely something.
In general, I think any effort that you spend exploring state or county, state, whatever government agency grants to help fund things is a good thing to use your time to do. It's great.
One other thought I had about can the money actually be used for like trail building, like to actually like work and create?
No.
No.
So it's like super limited to like planning, basically planning.
Okay, not actually like,
Yeah, you can install the signs.
okay.
That
not
could be,
actual.
but not actual, yeah, because I did ask and I got,
Be pricey, so that's.
yeah, but having a plan for the trail is kind of why I'm like hoping I could kind of wrangle in a little bit more than just the signage. Because we do want more trails, but we'll just see how far I can get, because right now I'm only feeling
Yeah.
more, again, like if I could get more information out of this group about how to write these sorts of things up. And
So community GL is,
Yeah.
it's an acronym for,
Community Geo is a company name that the Enoch works for, the gentleman that came down for the accessibility study. So just Community Geo.
they're not specializing in accessibility stuff or.
Oh, yes, they do that, and they do signs and trail development, trail planning.
Okay.
Pretty sure I'm gonna give them a call and find out. Any more about that one?
Sounds great.
It's great. Where we find this fans, but it's amazing.
Yep.
I find too many. Oh, and this one's, it's open to, it says open till the 25th, but then it also says, or until funds are spent. So part of me is reading it as,
Get
it right, but then I read it again, I'm like, oh, maybe I have a little bit more time, but I don't feel like you ever should think that anyways, and I might ask the guy if I'm getting nervous, if that's the way to read it or not, but I'm really trying to nail this down before it's due.
Appreciate that.
For sure. And then the second one is Project Canopy. I think I've mentioned it before, maybe not.
In trees.
Yes, tree
Yeah,
climb.
so this is due May 15th. It is a $15,000 maximum 50-50 grant match. The match can be in-kind services, so volunteer time, use of Toby's time and the tractor, things like that. There is some record keeping associated with that, so it is what it is. But we have over $40,000 worth of trees in the first round of planting, so it'd be pretty easy to, want to do a grant. And we have to have the trees in the ground by June 30th. Actually, both of these grants projects must be complete by June 30th of next year. I should also say with the signage that, we'd be looking to bring in like Historic Society and Celt and folks like that to help inform the signs and have a public process. So that's would be baked into that RFP. And then over here with the Project Canopy, we would really want, volunteers. Maybe we're organizing with the school kids if they can in June, or Celt and maybe Friends of Marion Bay. I really gotta put more of a tussle out there for some other organizations to write letters of support. But currently I have letters from Senator Vitelli, Representative Sally Clucci. I have this letter before you today, as well as one going to comp plan next week, and rec department's gonna write one. So I definitely feel really good about Project Canopy being done on time and being a good one, because I don't think we've ever gotten any money from that grant. So that gives you an extra 5 points. So they have a all right head start.
And we should sign one of these. So you're the one who wants.
So if you guys agree to what it says, or if you want me to make edits, then we can just have it, I can bring it to the next meeting, frankly, because it's not due till May 15th. I do need Wendy's signature, but if you like it.
Yeah.
then
I think if
you can sign.
People that are here, both sign it, right?
Yvette and I talked or emailed back and forth about this and made a couple of corrections so that she's implemented them already. So
Okay.
I'm good with filling this out.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to sign it?
I don't.
I assume that some of the tree species are outlined in previous sort of planning stuff.
Oh, yeah, I have a whole, yep, I totally do. I sent the list of the hundreds of trees to 3 different companies. They're all around 40,000 or more. So we have a,
And my memory is that that was sort of thought about for native species that will grow, yeah, that all of that thought was done previously.
and they won't,
I'm sure
give
they,
money for anything not,
at least that's some invasive trees.
yeah. So I guess just generally an update, because we're on topic, is that the next phases of that project, the RFP should be coming out at the end of this week, a draft RFP for just the shoreline stabilization. Then we gotta get that, approved by DOT to go out for bid, and that would be a specialized contract just for them. And then we would have another RFP going out, which would be for more of a general contractor to start kind of leveling and dealing with what the landscaping would look like, more final landscaping, like within inside the shoreline area, and working on those paths. So we, the tree planting won't happen till next year because of all of that. As long as we get a couple of bids for the shoreline stabilization from some pretty specialized companies that opening for July through September. Yeah. Oh, and then I guess while we're on, one more thing, sorry, staff update, just to add it.
Yeah.
The RFP just closed for the crosswalk study. The planning for having some, like a final elements down there. And I need to come up with some guidelines about how we go about judging the applications. We have 3.
Good.
John is on the review committee, as well as Maureen Booth from the Age Friendly Committee. And then there'll be me, and then also Steve Cole, who we've met with from DOT. And
Those are gonna be, they'll be fast tracked, I imagine, because Yvette's gonna be handling getting, whatever they can for funding outside of, for funding grants, and then we can start doing the work. I'm kind of
can
happy.
you repeat what you want on the next agenda?
Oh, cleanup update, murals update, coral and canopy for sure. And anything else that they can think of that we need to provide an opinion about.
Oh, I guess I should say I had one other thing to mention. Was that you had asked about the write out fund. You said, where is this at? So I have a copy of, basically it's they needed to go to court over it, not for like a nefarious reason or anything.
So
Just to move the funds
Mhm.
into wherever. And that,
Sorry, you know.
Then whatever.
I forget how much money is in there though, now that I'm telling you that I found some information about it.
So.
But I think there's a few $100,000, maybe it was for $300,000. And Nicole said that this would be a good source of funding for match for the signs. Because she thinks that that's in alignment with, you know, the protecting and education of the bay. So there's that. And I have a copy, but it's like legal
Yeah.
eaves.
Well, I wonder, that reminded me that when Mark was here at the last meeting, he suggested this committee potentially brainstorms naming the park. Or putting something forward to the select board to me, if that amount was designated to the park, that might be a good place to start. With a suggestion for naming it for the benefactor. And so I don't know where that stands. That was a suggestion from Mark last time.
I
So
can,
maybe it's a next agenda item for next meeting.
okay, I'll ask what the process is.
Yeah.
What they
Right.
want from us.
There isn't any family, is there?
Mhm.
No family left right after.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because if there were, you know,
Right.
it's to contact them and see how they felt about it or what they wanted to do. The name is familiar, but I could believe.
Well, the other park is Maley, and that was after someone who did a lot of work for that park.
Right.
So,
Right. To escape part of the stage,
right.
the origin of the name. Okay.
Did CDAC deal with improvements to the skate park at all
We dealt with this skate park, yes.
in like its creation or?
Wendy taught skateboarding at the school. She was very involved. She never skateboarded, but she taught skateboarding.
Okay.
She.
Well, yes, I think the answer to your question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, very interesting.
And for a grant to cover the cost of doing mural along the fencing. And so when I put in that grant and got money, and that was when we hired Nicole, Manon and Jane, just sort of put that together. This project with the schools. So we coordinated a lot of it.
Because I,
It's a separate little kitty created on this thing.
okay, because there's a art camp happening
Yeah.
through with the rec department now. And I reached out to see if they wanted to maybe create some things that would then be followed up at the Celebrate event. And in talking with them, my brain starts going, oh, you know, those skateboards down there could need some painting or whatever. And, you know, the discussion ended with, we should see if there's a bigger vision or what was the past of this, and I don't know these things, so we're not gonna go about it, but I do think that at some point it would be nice to spruce that area up with some art as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, not necessarily this year, actually, no, not this year, I'll just go ahead and say no to something, but I think that could. If it's here, great, if somewhere else with Mac or whatever, it's just maybe another thing.
I'm not sure that I would recreate what we did before. That was like really very labor intensive. Involved getting Paul Baines to cut like, I don't know, 200 of those skateboards.
I was thinking taking down the ones that are there and priming them and then letting the kids decorate again. I like really don't know what.
The kids at the Bowdoin School got. I mean, that was
They decorated them, right?
I just remember like they were excited.
They were, yeah, didn't like it still, we do.
Yeah,
As they were like,
Maybe you
that's
should be on
mine,
there.
that's mine, that's it.
yeah, probably should be on the art class.
Oh, yeah,
But yeah,
it was a lot.
Years ago? Yeah, both my kids were in elementary school, so that was a limited time, so I could. Yeah. Partners, yeah.
Skateboard parks can like graffiti.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. I sort of hate to see those go back up again, get ripped down. I mean, I got ripped down within like probably a year. And the fact now that they've already been ripped down means I think that pace would be accelerated. So,
There's still some up there, I haven't been down there.
yeah.
So people put it back up and, yes, yeah.
I'm just wondering whether one of the other things that we had considered was having like graffiti painted on the fence, intentional graffiti.
Right.
There's another mural.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's.
That's in mural, there we go.
Like if you put a mural up, also spray.
Yeah,
What's the difference between a mural and a fresco?
don't know.
Both pieces of art painted on the side of a building.
What's the fresco?
Usually it'd be like you go into typical Acapulco type American Mexican restaurant, they'll have a whole Mexican scene
Yeah,
on the wall with the beaches and umbrellas and then just trying to make it, that's a
yeah, whatever, let's move with the material, or.
I do this, yeah,
Yeah.
might be different verbiage for those things.
I guess it's more of a,
Well, I think that it might make sense to get a few people together to sort of think about what could be done.
Okay,
so we.
I'll keep it here for now. Back burner.
It definitely needs to,
Oh, look at us this week.
and especially if we put a mural on the end of the green building, well, would be nice to.
Right.
And there's a mural on the back of the,
There's gotta be a. I don't know who the person is or people that do it, but there's just gotta be a whole vision. You gotta imagine that trail going through there, so you have to imagine that, and then you have to put. Imagine all that space and how you want to.
otherwise,
But otherwise, you do everything like one to two, but
Right.
you just need somebody with some. Some creative vision to really. Think about
And
it.
even the eventual pavilion.
Each
Try
one,
that.
yeah, no, like whole, that's why, we're gonna have the
Side.
sidewalks and things over there, it's like, I don't know.
it's almost like
Who and
you're not content to do that.
we need some, maybe we have, there's people who have the skill to do that, I know, but.
Yeah, the problem is, I mean, love them, but if you ask Jane Page Conway, I'm know they will.
Sure.
But then getting that to the implementation stage is really challenging.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I mean, we could help do, carry it out if we could really.
I mean, anything that you or I would be able to figure out how to implement, I think is the issue. If there gotta be people who do this, gotta be people who plan that kind of thing, who have those planning skills as well as the vision. Yeah. I just don't know what they're called.
Yeah, I'd have to think of like a city or a town that kind of has that much stuff out there that is in sync with each other and find out who they talk to or.
I mean, we might not end up using that, but it might be helpful to know kind of what that process is.
Because where the train track there is. On the southern side of the. Skate park, right? Like towards the water side.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's like over the side, you have that last ramp to go up, and then like literally on the backside. Of the tracks. So. I don't know, anyways.
People will be entering.
Where people, yeah, and that's how most people in the future are gonna be seeing our town. It's coming from on that trail in. So.
So maybe we should put this out for discussion. I'll kind of muck around and see if I can figure out what kind of a person does this.
Yeah, just, yeah, something to keep thinking about, as we think about individual projects.
Hmm. I don't know if it's like too much to have like a theme, you know, like,
Yeah, we don't want it to be too,
Yeah.
though,
well,
if we were like capture the place, you know, I could do what you want, but this is just me
Yeah.
thinking of the theme bit. I loved the agriculture fields, that example one.
Yep.
And I'm like, I think somebody could do a pretty realistic of any of our farms there, like this is Boatham, like real, you know, but it could be done in whichever way. And then I love the one that was that train trestle. And if you had that, remember that one?
Yeah, I mean,
If it was that was like, hey, there's the ice shacks, like you're looking right like where they would be, or it could include the train tracks, or maybe the mural that's within the skate park is like the vision of the future, like if they're all related to like landscape or, you know,
No, they want.
yeah, so if you, I mean, I feel like you could maybe make a theme out of something to kind of keep it in that, but that's just a
yeah.
theme, just an idea is like kind of capturing the essence of what's here and
well, it's kind of also like capturing what the quilters is capturing. You know, when they do that quilt for the town,
Yeah.
they pull a lot of those pieces of.
yeah.
So blow those up.
Yeah.
We have exhausted our meeting, but we're not over time, but now that we've been talking. Now we're having a conversation, so.
All right, adjourn it.
I'm gonna adjourn the meeting and feel free to stay and discuss whatever you want to.
You're going home.
I'm going.
Fair enough.
Estoy muy enojado.
With
So we're